little past its time, but what about like some sort of hip hop song? We be tweeting. Could we turn that into a segment? Because it seems like some guys tweet out stupid stuff, and it seems like guys tweet out incendiary stuff, and we've got another one of those situations, which I want to get to. So explain to me what has happened in the Twitterverse, because I'm not as attuned to it as I should be, being a man with a couple of kids, and things change when you have kids as far as watching sports and being all over Twitter. Now, I'm all over Twitter if you ask me a question, and I do want to throw that out there. So we had a request, for instance, somebody said, hey, can you run down who all Tennessee is after in the transfer portal? Can you do a video on that? Well, sure. And we did. And we had written that before, but I know some people consume content in different ways. So if you ever have any requests, you can always DM me, or you can always just attach something, and I'll keep track of it. And heck, half of you guys probably know my email. It's david@offthehooksports.com. So we do take requests like Casey Kasem. By the way, did you ever hear about the whole weird story about how Casey Kasem passed away?
I did not.
It was, I shouldn't laugh, but it was essentially married a younger blonde, and she was ready for him to go, and she got all the money and got all the wills changed. That's your top 40. All right, let's get to Twitter. What do you got for me, Caleb? Because a Vol is tweeting and it's making news.
Yes, it's by the way, there is a lot of hip hop references. Drake has the best line: "Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers." So
that's pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah. So, all right, Bennett Warren. There was a Colorado fan the other night that was
who,
tweeting
for those
at
that don't know.
Bennett
no relation to Jacob that we're aware of.
No, Bennett Warren is a 4-star in Tennessee's 2024 class. There was and full disclosure, I did not see the tweet. A to Z Sports and Yardbarker both reported on it, and then I went to the page where it allegedly happened, and the tweet is deleted now. But there was a Colorado fan, somebody affiliated with the program, who tweeted at Bennett Warren saying something like, we need these dogs, like talking about the offensive lineman Deion Sanders was referring to, and encouraging Bennett Warren to flip to Colorado. Bennett Warren tweeted back, "Thank you, but I'll never be a part of Colorado football. No disrespect, though." Well, that was disrespectful. And then he deleted the tweet. So this comes on the heels of Jordan Seaton committing and the rumors that are swirling in Colorado right now that Boo Carter is going to flip, which, by the way, he's not going to flip. And so
he shows up on campus like Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I know, right? If he shows up on campus Friday and flips to Colorado Friday, oh my gosh, that would almost outdo Brandon Warren committing to Florida State on Hound Dogs. That's a throwback, Dave.
That is a throwback.
But yeah, so Bennett Warren said that. I think I'm wondering if there's some annoyance among people loyal to Tennessee about the way Colorado is targeting Tennessee right now.
I think it's bigger than that. I think that you have. Here's my theory after covering recruiting. Okay, so Trooper Taylor told me one time, you never go into a person's home to recruit him and mention another school. You never say, I'm with Tennessee. Eventually, we're going to beat Alabama. You don't say that, because then you place them on a pedestal. And it's actually a very smart thing if you think about it. I never mention any other media entities. They're not a part of what I do. And he said, you go in 14 points down. So, but that's Trooper's theory, and that's my theory. I don't think it's all coaches' theories. Here's what I think. I think that unilaterally across the board that coaches are frustrated to heck with Deion, that he has cost them at least one commit. Seaton would be an example for Tennessee. Other schools have examples too. And across the board, they're saying to these prospects that this Deion thing is a show. Now, you and I can debate whether or not it is a show. Okay, I think he's got some holes in his game, but I think he brings a lot to the table. I think that's what's happening. So if you have Tennessee say, oh, Alabama's not that great. Well, you understand they have a vested interest. But if I get recruited by North Carolina and they say, I'm just going to tell you as a friend recruiting you, even if you pick Tennessee or Rutgers or whoever you pick, I'd watch out for Colorado. I think there is a unilateral across the board among recruiters that they are resentful of what Deion has done in particular situations. And I don't think he's very popular with other coaches. Nothing he should be worried about, but that is my theory as to some guys. And Bennett Warren, I think, would fall in line with that. Thoughts on that theory?
I think it's possible. I think if it's happening, coaches are very out of touch with how things play out to kids nowadays, particularly in the age of the internet. And look, we are in an era where there is distrust of institutions and institutional power at an all-time high. And it exists in sports as much as it does anywhere else in politics, business, you name it. If kids are seeing all the national promotion that Deion's getting and they're caught up in the hype, and every school is negatively recruiting Colorado and only negatively recruiting Colorado, I think that is the easiest way to send more kids to Colorado, just out of sheer rebellion, because they would see what's happening, that people are negatively recruiting against Colorado and they're not doing that against any other school. That would make them more wanting to help Deion and support Colorado.
Let's forget for a second that Deion's Deion. Colorado is not going to be incredibly difficult to root against, is it? I mean, it is not in the SEC or Big Ten, which are the two best conferences. And if you're going to get in a mega conference one day, you better be in one of those. And it also is not a team that's going to be playing for championships anytime soon. I hate to tell you, but it's cold as bejesus out there. And I don't think they have the facilities anywhere close to an SEC school. Plus, they had a coaching change mid-season. That's not negative recruiting, really, Caleb. That's just facts. Negative recruiting would be Deion is going to the NFL, it's a matter of time. You won't play 4 years for Deion. That, to me, would be negative recruiting. Stating facts is really not negative recruiting.
Well, if you're negative recruiting like the way you said, I think that's effective recruiting. But if you're negative recruiting like the initial thing you brought up, which is people are saying Deion's a sideshow and this isn't a thing, I think players are going to resent that and they'll be more wanting to go to Colorado. But if you're negative recruiting, which is Sean Lewis was, you're right, demoted midseason, and Colorado is not in the SEC or the Big Ten. They're nowhere near getting into the SEC or the Big Ten. I don't care how good of a job Deion does there. You can negative recruit on those things. Look, negative recruiting, if you negative recruit on facts, it's one thing. I'm positive that Mark Richt and Nick Saban used the NCAA investigation and the hostess scandal against Tennessee in 2011 and 2010. And
I'm positive that Tennessee's discipline issues in the late 90s, early 2000s was used as well. Or more early 2000s.
Oh, absolutely it was. Absolutely. I'm positive it's still used against Florida. To this day, I've said, I think that people say there's a culture at Florida where players don't have any discipline. And I think Urban Meyer wrecked that program for a long time because of it. So, yeah, that's effective negative recruiting. But I'm saying if you bring the whole Deion's a show thing, you don't think they've already heard from other people that Deion's a show? You don't think they're already there? You don't think they've understood those debates nationally? If a coach says that to them, in their mind, the first thing is, well, this coach is old school and doesn't know any better. I don't want to play for him anyway then.
True. And here's the way I'm going to paraphrase. Here's the way I would put it out there. I would say, man, what Deion's done is really impressive. He's made Colorado relevant again. I mean, like any schools, they have their issues. I mean, they had a midseason coaching change, and they did still just win. Was it 3 games last year?
Four.
I mean,
they won
4. So they got a ways to go, but there are a lot of good things. I haven't seen their facilities. You probably have. You've seen our facilities too, but we would just love to have you at School X. That is not, to me, negative recruiting. Now, if you come out and say, Deion's a sideshow, he's a dad-blamed idiot, well, then, right, kids are going to be like, who is this old-fashioned fuddy-duddy in front of me?
Exactly. That's exactly what they would do. So that's why it's funny that Bennett Warren saying this. This is coming from the narratives around Colorado are coming from recruits, not the coaches. Bennett Warren took the shot at Colorado, not Josh Heupel. Boo Carter went to Colorado to recruit for Tennessee, reportedly. I don't know if Josh Heupel sent him there, but I doubt it. And on the other side,
I doubt it.
Deion Sanders, we talked about it last week, is race being brought up in recruiting. That was a player who volunteered that information, not Deion Sanders, a recruit. So the commitments are explicitly driving the narrative that was always in the back of our heads with Colorado anyway, in a lot of ways.
That's well put. Let's get to Four Downs, brought to you by our friends at Dynasty Spas, as we talk a little bit of Colorado's influence on Tennessee and the SEC. Four Downs, brought to you by Dynasty Spas in Athens. They are awesome.
Four Downs, brought to you by Dynasty Spas, the most comfortable spas made in the United States of America, right here in East Tennessee. Drop in for the all-new showroom in Athens. Dynasty Spas, perfect for all 4 seasons. Four Downs, presented by Off the Hook Sports.
There we go. Imagine having the best spas right here, made in the United States in your backyard. They're in Athens. Complete support, spa covers, and chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. It's Dynasty Pools and Spas. Dynasty Pools and Spas. You can go to dynastyspas.com. Those chemicals, by the way, are the best in the biz, and you got to check them out. All right, so let's jump in the hot tub with Coop.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe. Coop here. First down.
Is Colorado targeting the Vols? There's been a lot of talk between Colorado and Tennessee. Do you think that they're in any shape, form, or fashion targeting the Vols as the Vols came off a disappointing 8-4 season?
Yes, I think they're targeting the Vols. I think big reason, too, the big reason is even with or without Sean Lewis, if you watch Colorado's offensive system, they like to run tempo. Tennessee likes to run tempo, so they're kind of going for similar offensive players.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Second down. Brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. Does Colorado have more swag? This time last year, nobody had more swag than Tennessee. Everybody loved Tennessee. They got who they wanted in the transfer portal. They were the hot team. But does Colorado, who's just coming off a 4-win season, Tennessee coming off an 8, do they have more swag with recruits than Tennessee because of Deion Sanders?
Not at the moment because of how they finished the season. I think that Tennessee Josh Heupel's got a little flair to him when he recruits, and Josh Heupel has proven a little bit. So the swag thing, look, swag without wins just looks stupid at that point, doesn't it, Dave? So it
does. Like, even if they were 6-6 and made a bowl game, then you'd be like, oh, look at me. Swag without it, yeah. That is bizarre. All right.
It's like that.
Yes.
So it's like Kadarius Toney that was talking all that trash at the beginning of the season, and how many mistakes has Kadarius Toney made for the Chiefs this year? So,
what down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
What's the ceiling for Colorado and Deion? With Deion, what's the ceiling?
I think
I'll give you a couple different levels: bowl game, conference championship, college football playoff, national championship.
Well, they're in the Big 12, so I'm going to say conference championship, which would automatically mean college football playoff next year. And that's because Arizona would have won the Big 12 this year at 9-3 if you look at the teams that are going to be there next year. So I think Colorado could easily win the Big 12 in a few years. But I think college football playoff. I can't go national championship. I could go maybe get to the semis. Maybe one day they'll squeak into the semis and get their brains beat out by Georgia. But that's their ceiling to me.
Okay, fourth down.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
What's the floor? The floor to me, I'll go first if you don't mind. The floor to me is they have a really big year with his son at quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. I'm not sure how much eligibility he has left. If you could look that up for me. They have a really big year with Shedeur Sanders, and Southern California needs a coach because Lincoln Riley goes to the NFL, and Deion Sanders leaves after winning 8 games in a season. I think that's the floor. That's as bad as it could go. You?
That's as bad as it could go? You think an 8-win season is as bad as it could get with Deion Sanders in Colorado? You think he's that successful?
I don't know. I think he can get to 8, given the Big 12. Apparently you don't.
I think 6 and... Well, no, I do, but I think... you didn't say he can get to 8. You said 8 is the floor. Meaning he can't do worse than 8-4 and go get hired somewhere else.
Okay, well, I guess I'm looking at it like this. Maybe this is a little bit different. Okay, well, the floor is 6. I see what you're saying. I guess I was going with the likelihood. So
Okay, yeah.
you caught me on
I think
that.
the floor is 6-6. I think the floor is 6-6. I think they'll be 6-6 next year. Look, again, Dave, you watched Shedeur Sanders play. If he had like just 2 halfway decent blockers, Colorado's winning like 3 more games probably this year.
That poor kid was running all over the place, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
and
I
honestly,
don't know that anybody was blocking for him.
And where I blame Deion somewhat is I think he was trying so hard to make Shedeur a star, knowing the lack of offensive line he had. I think he let Shedeur get beat up way too. He let his son get beat up way too much last year, way more than he should have.